Stop playing with me.
All right, you guys. So, as I like to say with these things, as long as everything is working the way that it should be working, we are now live. So, hello and welcome to everyone who is watching the Written Melanin channel, wherever this day may have found you. I'm so glad that you are here. My name is Chelsea, better known as CM Lockhart, and I am here with the one, the only, the amazing Audra Russell. And you guys, we are back with a new episode of the Melanin Chat. I don't have sound effects. I haven't leveled up to that level of streaming ability, but we're gonna get there one day. One day.
All in good time, ma'am.
Yes.
All in good time.
Yes. So, shout out to everyone who came into the chat before we started streaming. So, hello to Ash, Benjamin, La, Dreaming Truth, and everyone else who joins us. I know we are at a different time. We're earlier on in the day. We're at 10 o'clock because we're selfish people. And it's easier to do this in the morning than in the afternoon after we've been doing stuff all day. So, here we are. So here we are.
It definitely makes my Tuesday mornings interesting because I have to get up, post everything from a show, and then hop right on in here. But I do like it because then once I'm done, I have the rest of the day to do whatever. So it works.
Yeah. And it's good for me because if y'all know, I stay busy. I always got stuff to do. And like even today after this, I have 2 more meetings with other people. And then I also have to prepare for a meeting coming up on Thursday, and I have to record the podcast tomorrow, so I have to make the notes for that. So there are plenty of things on the task list to be done, you guys, but that's okay because we're here to bring you melanin and to bring you joy to your morning, to your Tuesday mornings. So,
and drama and bookish treachery.
Bookish treachery. So if you guys haven't been keeping up with Audra's podcast, that is something that you should do. I've been on it 2 times now?
Oh girl, no, you've been on
3 times? 5 times? I'm over there a lot, y'all. So if y'all like us together, be sure to check it out.
7 actually, yeah.
Yeah, we hang out a lot, y'all. So yeah,
We do. Hi, Ben.
okay, so Lutasa! Welcome!
I miss saying that. Lutasa. Say it again. Lutasa. Hi, Lutasa. Hi, La. Hi, Ben. Hi, Dreaming Truth. How y'all doing?
So glad that y'all could be here and make it. We're just giving people a couple minutes to hop in. So let us know how y'all have been because we've been away for about, 5 months? Yeah, for about 5-6 months now. So let us know how y'all are doing. And of course, if you are not able to catch us live because you're used to our 4 p.m. time, if you're watching this in the future, feel free to leave comments and stuff to let us know how you're doing and to just respond in the comments, and Audra and I will check them out. Because we know that time zones, time shifts, that don't always work for everybody, but this is what it is. So, yeah.
This is what it is. Hi, Jay Monet. How are you?
Welcome. So, yeah. I don't know what's up with the chat, y'all. I don't know why it's looking squished on screen. I will try to fix that for next time, but yeah.
Looks fine to me.
It does, because I feel like it looks squished, and I don't know if it's just my perfectionism kicking in.
I think it's your perfectionism. Chelsea.
It's a possibility.
I think it's okay. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, well, I'm going to just drop the font size anyway.
Okay.
Oh, now you really can't read it. Hold on. There we go. Okay. I'll just podcast. Maybe want to read. Warn me when it's time. Ooh.
And you should, because it's a good book. Like there's a whole thing. There's a series in there. That's a series, and you don't have to read them in order, but I'm going back and reading the first one and reading all of them. It's a great, that first book, if that's any indication, she instantly became an auto-buy author for me, and she also has a book that just came out called Time's Undoing, and it's actually based off it's historical fiction based off of something that actually happened to her grandfather. So, Ben says it's squished.
Yeah, and I don't know why, y'all. That's something I'm going to have to fix in the future because I don't know why it's squished. I don't know. We'll fix
Because
it.
we missed you too.
We have. It's so good to be back. It's so good to be back.
Yes.
And y'all, we got topics for y'all today. So
Topics on topics.
because you know what I did this time? She came prepared. She made notes because when I tell y'all,
Hey.
Ben knows this because he's been living with me and he has to like deal with it because I talk about it constantly. But the way I have been trying to get my time management under control, because if y'all know me, I will always like overcommit myself because I'm like, oh yes, I have time. And the clock is like, no, you don't, girl. What are you talking about? So I have been trying to get my time management under control, and I found this app called TickTick, and the way my obsessive personality was just like absolutely love this and obsessed with it now. So I have a little TickTick, and it's got all of my notes and stuff for today. And I sent it to Audra, and I was like, Audra, sign up for it.
Yeah. Chelsea always do this shit, y'all. She sign up for some shit and then uses it, and then forces me to have to learn some new shit.
I mean, it's good for your brain.
Tick. Poor little tick. It makes me think of cat. Poor little tick. I was like, poor little tick. I don't know. Tick, TikTok, Twitter. It's too many T's up in here.
She said, poor little tick.
Poor little tick. Just say it. Reminded me of cat, whatever his name is, that comedian.
Cat Williams.
Tink. Yeah, there you go. No, poor little tick. I was like, tick. What is this?
What is this? Okay, y'all, I'm playing with the chat to try to adjust it, so like bear with me, okay? But yeah. I don't know why it's squished.
Bethesda, why you always be in all caps? I feel like you yelling at us all the time. Hi, Montrez. I mean, or that's just your personality. Bethesda's just like, I'm here.
He said, get with it.
It is good to try new things, Ben, and I try new things every day. That's one of my mantras, is that I do something new every day. But Chelsea just be pulling me in like, no, I won't even say pulling me in. Chelsea just pushed me off the ledge like, here, bitch, try this. And I'm like, wait a minute!
I mean, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, all right?
Right, but I'm just saying, you could be like, I'm going to try that. No, she just sent me a thing that said, Chelsea sent you this on TickTick. I'm like, what the hell is a TickTick? And what? Okay.
Right.
And then I had to like join. And then when I was joining, then I tried to click on her thing again. It was like, no, you have to ask this person to send it again. I was like, Chelsea, send it again, please.
Look, wait. Yeah, you guys, I don't know what's wrong with the chat. I'm over here trying to fix it, and I'm just like, it's not working. I don't know why it looks squished. It doesn't look like this other times, but whatever. We have about 1 more minute.
Now it's like over the screen, over your face.
Yeah, I'm adjusting it. I'm literally playing with it in real time. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I don't make the rules. I just be trying to play by them, and they don't make no sense. So.
Sometimes I need a push. Yeah, okay, Ben. I just said I learn something new every day. I don't need that kind of push all the time. All right?
Clearly, you do, though.
Really? Clearly I do? Okay, Chelsea.
I'm just saying, because sometimes you just be like, nah, homie. And I just be like, but this is going to make your life so much easier, so much better. It's going to be great. Okay.
I got my calendar and my planner to make my list and tick it off.
Okay. Well,
I feel like I got a booger in my nose and I can't pick it because I don't have no tissue. Oh well.
If you felt like that was TMI, raise your hand.
No, it was not. I'm just letting y'all know. So if y'all happen to see it come out, just be like, Audra, fix your nose.
I'm
just
dead.
saying. I'm not trying to be up on these internets with stuff hanging out my nose.
Anywho, anyway, you guys, it is now
allergy.
It is now 10 after, so we're going to get into these melanin spotlights for this week because, of course, it would not be the Melanin Chat if we were not bringing you some melanin books. I was going to say something else in between those two words, but my brain wasn't allowing me to do so.
Not bringing some melanin to your pages. Maybe that's what you meant.
Melanin to your pages? I don't know. Melanin heavy, melanin laden books.
Shut up. Put your hand down, Ben.
I knew somebody was going to agree with me.
Yeah, he's co-signing. He don't count.
dead. I'm dead. Anyway, I'm gonna let Audra go first. Oh, snap, y'all. Give me a second because the way that I changed up everything, I hope y'all like the new layout. I really hope y'all do. But the way that Audra is actually not on her page yet, give me a second. Give me a second,
I'm
y'all.
not on my page. What do you mean?
I forgot to set up the page because they're new scenes now. So, I didn't add your video to your page yet. You remember how I was setting that up so we could do this on the live?
I don't know what you're talking about, Chelsea. I'm completely lost now.
It's fine, Audra. It is totes fine.
Because I'm looking and I see us both on the YouTube,
yes,
so.
I'm trying to pull up your book like I did before, but like I showed you, but you don't actually exist on that page yet. That's what I'm trying to say.
There's another place we need to go to look at the books.
No, you just keep talking. Just keep being the beautiful person you are and talking, and I'm gonna set you up over here. That's it. And while I'm getting us set up, let us know how y'all are doing. What have y'all done in the last 6 months since we've had a show? Let us know that y'all have been thriving. Because we've been doing a lot. Did I tell you I got a book coming out? I think I said that.
No, I don't think you did. Not in this show.
Is it not here? Yeah, so if you guys have not been following me on social media, We Are Dying Gods is a sequel to We Are the Origin, and it is coming out on Audra's birthday. And I am stupid excited about it. And it is, okay, I can't do two things at one time, and y'all know this, so I'm gonna need Audra to keep talking while I'm setting this up.
Okay. I'm just saying, it's coming out. The second book is coming out on my birthday. The joke behind that is that she said, I need a date for this book to release. And I said, my birthday. That way I have a nice birthday present. I was joking. She was serious. She was like, bet. August 29th it is. Okay. I'm good. So that's coming out. The book cover has been shown on Twitter. It's beautiful. It's got more green in it. I just love her book covers. And Chelsea been doing a whole lot of shit that I cannot keep up with everything. Some stuff still behind the scenes. Some stuff that y'all know. But she working. And the girl over here working. I'm trying to get another episode of Staying on Code out. I'm reading the book right now, but it's nonfiction, so it takes me a while to read that kind of stuff. But Friday, I will find out if I have won the American Black Film Festival podcast competition. If I did win, then I will be going to Miami.
And she's taking me with her.
And I will win $1,500. And I get to do an episode of the show there at the conference. So I'm hoping I win. Because that money will go right back into the podcast with some things that I wanted to do. I don't have the money to do yet. So
y'all love how she just,
that is what is going on with me.
Y'all love how she just glossed over the fact that I said she's taking me with her. She just skipped over that.
You can come. As long as you got your money for your plane ticket, girl. I want to know how they, are they actually going to let me do a show, an episode of it? Because if they are, what is involved with that? I have no idea what's going on. She could come with me. Florida will never be the same.
Never.
And I am laughing because I do have on my the only Florida we acknowledge is Evans shirt today. So thank you, Montrez. I hope I win.
Yes.
Or maybe if I don't win, an honorable mention or second place or whatever. It would be nice to be acknowledged in that way. So we'll see, because I need to do Black Indie Author Week, but I'm waiting to see if I won, because this conference would run the same week as Black Indie Author Week. So I'm waiting to see if it wins, because I have the topic all picked out, and I have things that I want to plan, but I can't do anything until whether I know that I'm going to this conference or not.
I'm sure you're going, because honestly, if I want you to win. I just want you to win. But I got everything set up so we can actually do the thing now. I hope y'all like the new layout.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time yesterday putting it together. But moving
Pretty.
on. Thank you. So I'm just gonna give you her book for the week, and I'm gonna just like slide on off screen.
Okay, so as you know, today is Tuesday, and Tuesday not only means Melanin Chat, it also is book release day, and for me, it is also podcast day for Between the Reads. And if you have been following me, then you know there's a new episode up with Celeste Hart and her first book in her series. Oh, that's Fly, Chelsea.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I see you. I see you. So that book over there is my book, Conquest Dragon Bones Book 1. I read it. We talked about it. So go to betweenthereads.com. Check out the new episode. You can learn more about the book. Here is the book summary. Joshi Anua has been arranged to be married to the leader of her nation, the Great Writerish. To help her escape the unwanted engagement, her future husband's enemies offer her an out. If she agrees to spy on her intended, they'll give her a new identity and a life somewhere the Writerish will never find her. Yet as Joshi gets to know the Writerish, she wonders if she put her loyalties in the right place, especially when she realizes that he shares the abilities she's had to keep secret her whole life. What's more, he might be the only one who can train her to use them. Now, of course, y'all could, go to your independent bookstore and buy it, or you could go to bookshop.org and select a independent bookstore that will get some of the proceeds from your money, or you can go on Amazon. It is on Kindle Unlimited, which it's free. It's not really free because you're paying $10 a month, but you can grab it if you have Kindle Unlimited. But it's Conquest. Check out the podcast episode on betweenthereads.com because we had a great time talking. Celeste is wonderful. It was great to see her face for the first time, even though we've been talking for years through the Melanin Chat. So that's my book, and I love that layout. I love that.
And thank
Fly,
you. Thank you. And I'm over here thinking, like, how dare she not plug the Melanin Library? Like,
I'm sorry. My bad, y'all. You can go to the Melanin Library and also get the book from there so that Chelsea's Melanin Library can also receive some of your proceeds. My bad. Mea culpa. Please forgive me.
we take 6 months off and she forget.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
But that being said, the books are in the description box. So if you refresh the page, you can click the link to the Melanin Library and get it. And if you want the Kindle Unlimited version, just click on the link through the Melanin Library first so that the Melanin Library still gets a little kickback from your Kindle Unlimited purchase. So that being said, we're going to move on to my book. Oop, y'all see that? Y'all see how I did that? Okay. Anyway.
I love it. She does that laugh, y'all. It just tickles my soul every time she does it.
But my book is Everyone's Thinking It by Alima, and I hope I'm not butchering her name, Alima Omatoni. And this book comes out later this year in September, but y'all, this cover, I saw it and I was immediately like, I love the melanin on the cover. I love the vibe of it. I love everything about it. So it is a pre-order, but we also all know how pre-orders affect authors, especially authors of color. So if you're into like contemporary romance thrillers, might be for you. I would probably purchase it purely off the cover. I'm not going to say I'm going to read it because y'all know I don't do that around these parts, but it does make me want to go purchase it to look at it. So there's that. There's that. And also the description was really interesting. So
ooh, Montress says she's reading the arc for that now.
Ooh, let us know if it's good, because if it is the way that I would consider purchasing it, maybe not expeditiously, but I would consider it more so than I am right now. Absolutely love that. But this is a young adult book. It comes out in September of this year, and the description reads, Mean Girls meets Dear White People in this big-hearted, sharp-witted UK boarding school story about family, friendship, and belonging. With a propulsive mystery at its heart, a loose reimagining of Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream by debut author Alima Omatoni. Within the walls of Woodbury Hall, an elite boarding school in the English countryside, reputation is everything. But aspiring photographer Yanu is more comfortable observing things safely from behind her camera. For Iyanu's estranged cousin, Khitan, life seems perfect. She has money, beauty, and friends like Queen Bee Heather. But as a Nigerian girl in a school as white and insular as Woodbury, Khitan struggles with the personal sacrifices needed to keep her place and the protection she gets within the exclusive popular crowd. Then photos from Iyanu's camera are stolen and splashed across the school, each with a juicy secret written on it. With everyone's dirty laundry suddenly out in the open, the school explodes in chaos, and the whispers accusing Iyanu of being the one behind it all start to feel like deja vu. Each girl is desperate to unravel the mystery of who stole the photos and why, but exposing the truth will change them all forever. So, it sounds intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're interested, like I said, there are links to the Melanin Library down in the description box below if you want to get them from Amazon. We are still working on getting links to other places for the Melanin Library, but if you're going to get it from Amazon, please use the affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anymore, and it helps to support the Melanin Library to make sure that we can keep doing what we're doing, which is making books by Black authors more readily available. And y'all, we have over 3,000 books on the library now, so like, how cool is that? How cool is that?
Wow.
So
That's a lot of books.
it's a lot of books, a lot of Black folk writing stories. I'm just saying. So
A lot of blackity black.
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 So yeah,
Black.
be sure to check it out. And I'm also going to throw out there that if you haven't made friends with the like button already, you can feel free to do that because it doesn't bite. And if it does, let me know, and I will tell YouTube myself. I will take up arms for you. Okay. But that being said, I wanted to answer Ash's question because when we were talking about We Are Dying Gods, she asked if I was done with the beta run through, and the answer to that is no, but I am making progress. And when I tell you that the wait is going to be worth it because it's already so much better than what it was originally, and I ain't here to toot my own horn, but the original one was pretty good, so I mean but
I'm tooting it for her. Toot toot.
I appreciate it. But yeah, so the rewrite is definitely coming together. It's coming together. So I'm still on track to send it out for May 26th. So a couple of weeks. But yeah. And y'all, I also got started getting my arc list together, and I'm really excited because there's some people that I did not expect asking me for an arc this year, and I was just like, little me, okay, all right. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. And if you haven't already, there is a box coming for We Are Dying Gods, and I've mentioned this on other places. But if you're new here, or if you haven't seen this in a little minute, the pre-order box for We Are Dying Gods, there is going to be a signed hard copy of the book. It's going to come with a map. It is going to come with some gorgeous pre-order artwork. It is also going to have a bookmark. It's going to have a scented candle that is unique to the story and a bunch of other goodies in it. So if you want to pre-order it, I'm only selling 50 of them. I have about half of them sold already. So if you want one, grab one. So yeah, and if you haven't read the first book, you're like, Chelsea, I want both books. There is a bundle where you can get both hardbacks at the same time, and they both will be signed. If it comes from me, the product is going to be signed, as long as it's not digital. So if you're into it, check it out. If you know someone who might be into it, check it out. So yeah. Ash said, I'm still going to be impatient, but okay, look, man, I'm trying, doing my best, okay? But that being said, you guys, we are here to talk about what's going on in this bookish world, and it's been a lot, y'all. It's been a lot. So I don't know what order we should go in, so I'm just gonna go with whatever feels good. So I'll start with the bookish content one because this happened back in February, but y'all know we wasn't streaming in February, so we can talk about it. So we're gonna bring it up now. First thing that I want to touch on at least is this idea that Black content creators, specifically bookish ones, should be expected to read Black authors. And I know that this was a conversation, like I said, back in February, but it was such an interesting take because everybody kind of had their own 2 cents on the matter. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I feel like the word expect is kind of like, I don't know, you know how me and responsibility is. Expectations and obligations are a trigger for me. So I'm immediately like, no. But I'm also like, I don't know, like if as a person, if who is Black, I'm like, I want to read Black stories because it gives like that's my representation. So
Mm-hmm.
um I'm just kind of like, I don't want to use the word expect, but I'm also that type of person where I'm like, whenever I'm deciding, like as an author, who I'm going to send my books out to and who I'm going to ask to like help me like promote and send stuff out, I'm always like, I check people's pages. I don't know about other authors, but I check your page. And I'm like, it's cool if you read fantasy, but if all I see is like Prior to the Orange Tree and I see a bunch of like non-representation for Black fantasy, that's cool that you read fantasy, but I'm still not gonna send you my book because it's like, as a Black author, if that's not what you enjoy, if that's not what you read, if that's not the content that you make, I'm like, I'm not going to send you free product and ask you to help me promote if it's not something that you enjoy in the first place, you know? But what's your take on that, Audra?
Ooh, well, I know there is this unfair responsibility on Black people that whenever we do something, we always have to think about our community as a whole, our race as a whole, and be defenders of the entire race, even though we're just this one Black person. But the unfortunate circumstance is that whatever we do, the entire race is judged by. So there's that. So when
Yeah.
you look at it from that aspect, it's like, don't tell me what I'm going to read. But being the blackety black person that I am, and knowing that the traditional publishing industry is not going to promote Black books like they need to, and knowing that other white people who are book promoters are not going to understand and promote our books without throwing some kind of shade of, I didn't get it, I couldn't relate, blah, 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 blah. Knowing those things and knowing that the cards are stacked against us, I am going to say that if you are a book influencer who is Black, your first priority should be Black books.
Mm-hmm.
Because, especially if you have a large platform, because white authors don't need help getting their books out there. They have white book influencers, they have the traditional publishing industry, they have the algorithm going for them. So my thinking is that if you have a platform, especially if it's a platform that gets a lot of reach, I think you have an inherent responsibility to promote Black authors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my take on it. Is it fair? Probably not. But the other half of that is, if you're a Black author, why, yeah, okay, you should just be able to promote good books. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there should be a healthy mix of Black authors in there.
I agree. And obviously, you guys in the chat, feel free to weigh in on this with your opinion, because I know some of you are on both sides. Like Montrez, I know you're on both sides of the fence. You're an influencer and a reader, but you're also an author. So I would love to know like y'all's opinions on this as well. And I think I'm not gonna say there's an inherent responsibility, because I think I think that like your platform is absolutely your platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also like, I don't know. The thing is, and I think part of the conversation that I felt was missing when I was watching videos and stuff on it initially is, it's not the fact that you should, it's the fact that most people naturally gravitate to their own representation. It just so happens that in the bookish world, representation of white people is just, there's just more of it than representation of other people. So it's just kind of like, yes, those white content creators, they're reading books by white authors, but that's their representation. Therefore, they're going to talk about things like that. And so when they are reading books outside of what they look like that are diverse, right? Then it's like, yes, they are reading outside of their representation. And that's kind of why we have phrased like, oh, you need to diversify your bookshelf the way it has, because it's like, as a Black person, it's just like, is it really reading diverse if I only read Black authors? Because that's my representation. Reading diverse for me would be reading white authors, because that's not my representation. That's not what I live naturally. But because everything is, oh, I know I'm upsetting you just a little bit, but it's just like, the word itself, I'm not talking about how people perceive it. I'm talking about the word diversity itself means something outside of you. But everything that we talk about is so white centric. It's so focused on, oh, white is the default and therefore anything outside of that is diversity. And it's just kind of like, for me, my perspective, that's not that's not necessarily how it works. But I think when it comes to your platform, like when you are talking about reading Black authors, you have to take into consideration that it's just like you are literally only reading authors who look nothing like you. And it's just like, I feel like on some level you have to question, why is that? Is it just because it's easy? Is it because you don't want to do the work? Or is that literally what you enjoy? Or is it that you're chasing after the clicks and the popularity, and it's just like Sarah J. Maas is always going to be way more popular than, you know, a Black author who is trying to debut into this industry. So I get that, but then it's also that same energy of, if you don't talk about them, who is? And who's going to talk about them authentically? Because most Black authors, most, not all, there are some caveats. So I'm just saying, generally speaking, most Black authors write their stories for Black readers. And it's like, if as a Black reader, you are not reading these stories, and people who are trying to diversify their bookshelf are reading it, but that experience is being written isn't for them, they're going to talk about it in a way that's from an outside perspective instead of an inside one. And I feel like when you have books and you don't have that inside perspective, that's the thing that hurts Black authors. And that's why we get these conversations later on down the road of like, oh, your book isn't selling. And it's just kind of like a chicken and egg situation. No one's talking about your book, and so therefore it's not selling, but your book isn't going to sell because no one's talking about your book.
So here's a couple, there's several very good comments I want to get to, but before I do that, I have to say this. So there are people who might come at you and say, if you're a Black person and all you read is Black books, that you are not being diverse. Well, the caveat to that is, I was born in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, the fiction books that they're reading in schools today, in English classes and all of that, is much more diverse. But when I was growing up, there was absolutely no Black fiction books discussed in school whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So I am coming from the standpoint of, from K to 12, and even my community college, I had an African American lit class. That was the first time I was introduced to Black authors, other than Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, when I was in elementary school. Mm-hmm. When I went to my HBCU to Hampton, there was not a lot of Black fiction that was being pushed. Sad, because it's an HBCU. So all of my life, I have read white authors, all the fiction, all the classics, blah, blah, blah. And y'all know how I started Between the Reads, because when the panini hit and I looked at my bookshelves, almost all of my fiction was white authors, and I didn't pick it that way. Mm-hmm. I was a lazy reader. I went to the library and saw the books that they recommended, and those were the books that I would end up buying. Mm-hmm. So the only ones that I had on my shelves were the canon: Toni Morrison, Richard Wright, James Baldwin, Alice Walker, those. Okay. So when the panini hit, I gave all them books away, all them white books away. And I started purposely looking for Black authors to fill my shelves with. Mm-hmm. So at 52 years old, my thought is, I've read enough white authors to last, literally the first half of my life has been white authors, mostly. So I'm good with that. I don't need it anymore. So if you're asking me, if you're telling me that I'm not a diverse reader, that is an absolute lie, because I spent all of my life reading your books. But how much of your life have you spent reading mine?
And I think that's the part of the conversation that I'm not trying to dismiss, because for Black readers, most of our experiences, especially if you were born pre-2000, it's just like you're almost all of your experience reading is by white authors. And it's just like, you have already done the diverse reading. You have already spent most of your time outside of yourself and experiencing things and having to relate to things and the humanity and characters that don't look like you. And a lot of non-white people have this experience, not just Black people, but also Asian people, also Native American people, also Hispanic people. Like all people of color have this experience, especially speaking specifically from growing up in America. What I'm saying is, when I'm just saying, like, the word itself of reading diversely, I'm saying that when it comes to what the word actually means. I'm not saying that you're not a diverse reader, because at the end of the day, there are still people who live at intersections. There's still Afro-Latino people where you're still reading those books and you're still getting that experience. There are still biracial people and triracial people that exist, where it's just like you're still reading diversely, even if you're not reading white authors. And I think the conversation, especially in America, comes to like, you're not reading diversely if you're not reading all authors. And it's just like, if I could count every book that I've read by a white author, even though I've been only reading Black authors in my adulthood, I still have nowhere near caught up to how many books by white authors that I have read. It has not leveled out yet. So it's just like, as a Black author and a Black reader, it's just like, if that's all that I choose to read, there's nothing wrong with that, because I've already done the work. I think the problem comes when people have not done the work to read outside of themselves, and then they continue to read outside of themselves. Because here's the thing, I don't know if it's the Libra in me, but the scales are unbalanced. If you're like, oh, but I read like 5 books during Black History Month. Okay, but if you're reading 1,000 books a year, homie, if you're reading 100 books, 200, 300 books, and you only read 5 of them by Black authors,
like 0.000 something percent. That's not even like,
yeah,
that's not even a blip. So some of the comments, you wanna hit those?
Yes.
Starting with J. Monet. She says, I think it's weird not to read Black books as a Black person. No one is saying that you should only read books by Black authors. I am. But if you don't read books by us, then you're sus. And love her. Yup.
Literally.
Because if you Black and you ain't reading no Black books, like, other than the canon, like, or you're a lazy reader like I was.
And I'm just saying, but like, even when you were a lazy reader, let's be real here, before 2020, there were not a whole lot of ways to find books online outside of Amazon, unless you were really already ingrained in the book community. And even now, it's just like, unless you're really ingrained in the book community and you keep up and you follow authors and you follow publishers and you follow people talking about books, you still would not know if a book by a Black author was coming out. You wouldn't know if it was good. You wouldn't have a way. People say do the research. And for the bookish community, for people within the bookish community, I think that's accurate. But part of the reason I ended up creating the Melanin Library in the first place is because if you are outside of the bookish community, there's almost literally no way for you to do the research unless you, by happenstance, find a book on Amazon or like in the library, and then you have a place to start. But most people don't even have a place to start. So I don't even think, like, when you talk about, being a lazy reader, I think that can apply to people in like 2020 and beyond. But like, prior to that, I wouldn't even call it lazy reading. It's just like, you use the resources that you had accessible to you, That was a rant. Let me go back in my lane. Let you finish your thought.
Okay, so L.A. Purvis, La Purvis. Is it L.A. or La?
It's La.
Okay. La. Okay. She says that she agrees with me, and that if you're gonna promote good content, then there should be some. If you're reading good books is the goal, then there should be some Black content within the lists. Ben says Black creators should be authentically themselves. Absolutely, I support Black books, so the creators I support will be in line with that. Absolutely. That is my choice, and other Black creators can make their own choices. And he said, I do think all Black creators should at least strongly consider it. Montrez says, I purposely look for Black, indie, and overall noteworthy books that aren't getting the love they deserve. It gets frustrating when the same handful of books are recommended. Yes, I hate that. It's like you see the same damn book, and then a lot of times that book isn't even all that it's cracked up to be.
Y'all, the way I got catfished so hard at the beginning of 2020 when these books were coming out.
Yep. As she says, I try to amplify both trad and indie because it's hard for writers on both sides, especially for Black and brown writers. Absolutely. And she doesn't push books that she doesn't enjoy. Absolutely.
Same.
And then Dreaming Truth says, my mother was an advocate for Black people, a member of NAACP. She made sure that I grew up knowing that Black people can do things as well, if not better, than other races, including writing stories. Absolutely. She says, I read books by black, white, and any other races that catch my interest. Yeah, I used to do that, but honestly, white folks get on my nerves so much right now with all that's going on in the world. It's like, I don't even want to read books about them right now because I just don't want to hear anything that they have to say. Because, I watch the news, I watch real news on YouTube, not the propaganda that is mainstream media. And the things that white folks are doing on a daily just works my nerves. So I don't want to read anything they have to write unless it's some of my nonfiction books are by white authors, and they are white authors who are actually telling the truth. So obviously they're not popular. But on the whole, I don't want to read anything by anybody white. But absolutely, you should read whatever suits your fancy. But if you are a content creator, I feel like if you're a black content creator, some of that content, a good portion of that content, should be black books.
I 100%
Because
agree with
otherwise, yeah.
because it's just like kind of like Law said, is like if you're making a list and you're like, oh, I read good books, I read good authors, that's great, but like you have to address is like, but why are black authors not included in this list? Why are Asian authors and Hispanic authors not included in this list? Like, not just black authors, because I agree. I think for a lot of people, only reading black authors is difficult, especially if there's a certain type of story that you like to read, because the reality of it is most of publishing is white. So if you're not reading a whole lot of indie and self-published books and you don't know how to find indie and self-published books of quality that you like, then you're going to have a difficult time with it, simply because those books are not pushed and talked about, and you have to do the research. You have to do the groundbreaking work of being like, there is no one else. There is no list for you to just reference. And if so, it's a very niche list from a website that probably is not getting hundreds of thousands of views at a time. So you have to do your research. And it's like, it's cool if that's not it. But if you're making a list and you're talking about the top 10 fantasy and all you have are white authors with an Asian author thrown in, I immediately disqualify that list, because there's absolutely no way that even the popular authors are not included in that. Like, there are still a lot of black authors on shelves, even in trad bookstores. If you're making a list about fantasy, the best fantasy, and you're not including people like N.K. Jemisin or Octavia Butler, it's just like, okay, well, that means that you haven't made a list of the top 10 best fantasy of all time. You've made a list of convenient books that are available to find that are also fantasy. And it's just like, label your list appropriately. There's nothing wrong with that, but just tell people what it is instead of being like, of all time. And it's just, it's interesting, and that's the conversation that people kind of go to. And I 100% agree that it's just like, if you're not reading black authors if you're any type of creator and you are talking about bookish content on a regular, like that is the primary source of your content, and you never run across a black author, I'm looking at you like, why? I'm looking at you like, it's not that hard. Like, there are some traditionally published black authors in these spaces, especially if you read young adult. There are absolutely some popular buzzworthy books that are in that category. So it's like, if you've never picked it up, never talked about it, never even entertained the idea, that's more telling about who you are rather than the type of book that you think is good. And I feel like in a lot of ways, there needs to be more people not more people. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Speaking about myself and the type of person where it's like, if I see that you not talking about these books, the books that you are talking about, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, because I'm like, well, I'm not gonna say you ain't got no taste, but I don't know how you're gonna tell me if food tastes good and you never had salt. I don't know. Right. I'm going to look at you like, is it though? Or do you really just like raw carrots?
Right, exactly. Yep, and Kish Knight said the Melanin Library made a huge difference as a person of color resource. And then we have Luthaza's comment here is very, very poignant. He says, I think the problem is that we see white authors as just reading and black authors as a concerted effort to be made to read. And that is a big issue. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jay Monet says it's like when those white bookish girls made hot girl summer reading lists without a lick of black books on there. Absolutely. And they do see themselves as the default. You are absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, and J.K. Lambo has a question for you.
let's see here.
Chelsea.
I just responded to Joanne. So if you guys don't know, Joanne does have a book. So if you guys want to click on her profile and check it out, Project Sugar and Spice, for sure do that. But for the Melanin Chat, I would prefer it if you guys didn't drop links to your own channels and such, just so that we can keep the conversation on what it is. But other stuff where we're doing like writing sprints and stuff, I don't really mind. But thank you for asking. So, I appreciate that.
Yep. But yeah, so I just think that if you're a book promoter of any kind, the point is that Black books should be somewhere on your list. That if you consider yourself a diverse reader, then there should be books from all different types of authors.
Absolutely.
In your content, because otherwise you need to say what you are. I only read white authors. I only read, for me, I only read Black authors. I unapologetically say that for my fiction. Like I said, my nonfiction, it's a little different because the types of things that I read, there are a limited number of Black scholars who write about those things, and I do have their books, but it is what it is. So if you're a content creator,
yeah,
promote all the content. And if
content.
You're saying that it's not coming across your feed, then you are not what you claim to be. Because like we've said a million times before, on Amazon, if you look for certain types of authors, if you buy certain types of books, like because I get a lot of ebooks that are by Black authors, Amazon, every time I go in, is like, hey, here's some books for you to look at based on your other reading, and they're all Black authors. So
the algorithm learns what you look for, and it learns what you like, because I have a very similar experience. Like most of the things that come across my feed is like, oh, you were interested in this author. Do you still want to purchase them? This is an author similar to one you looked up before. And I'm just kind of like, nah, homie, I'm good. It was just for the Melanin Library, but like, appreciate it.
Right.
So if you want a quick way to game your algorithm, just go to the Melanin Library, click on a couple of links, search around, and then just rinse and repeat for like a week, and then your whole algorithm on Amazon will be reset. You're welcome. But I also wanted to mention on what Luthaza said about how reading, how it's perceived, and I think that's part of the problem with people are like reading diverse, because obviously we have to bring attention to it, but it's just the fact that when you're reading a white author, you're just reading, but then when you're reading a book by a Black author or anyone else, you're reading diversely. And it's just like that perpetuates this idea, like Luthaza said, that white is the default, and it's like, no, that's not how it works. And that's the language that I think a lot of us need to be mindful of, and if I'm being real, try to intentionally kind of unlearn and stop. I don't say stop using, because I feel like that would come with its own detriments, but we need a way to uncenter whiteness as being like, oh, this is the default, this is what we're going to. Even like with my book, right? It's just like whenever I tell people like, oh, all the characters are Black unless I tell you otherwise, it's like Black is the default. If it's not, I will let you know. And when people hear that, they're just kind of like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, because that's my default in my life. Like my family, my friends, like the places I frequent, Black is the default, and when I'm not in spaces where there are lots of Black people, it's just like I am intensely aware that I am the only Black person in that space, and therefore it's the thing that I notice. But it's just like in my books, it's like that's something that they're going to notice when the default shifts. So I don't know, I just think it's something to be mindful of.
And that's why I have shifted my own perspective. So for me, Black books are the default, and reading anything by somebody white, it takes a concerted effort for me, and it's not going to happen, like I said, unless it's a nonfiction book. So I have already flipped it for myself, because that's what I prefer, and
it takes some unlearning.
Yeah, it takes a lot of unlearning. So now the default for me, like J.K. Lambo says, I think it's also about being on the lookout for Black books too, because there are a lot of amazing books by Black protagonists. You just have to intentionally look for them. So for me, I don't have to intentionally look for them, because since I look for them so much, they now drop into all of my socials. So for me, it has become, I have made that algorithm give me black authors by default, and anything white, it doesn't even show up because I'm not even checking for them. So you have to do the work with what you're searching for to make it your default,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
And I'm going to point out what Luthaza said, but I also want you to remind you guys that the Melanin Chat is only for an hour, so 11 o'clock we are switching over to the after chat, which is in the Discord, Patreon. If you're watching this in the future, it is going to be recorded so that if you are not able to hang out with us, you will be able to watch it on the Patreon since they allow video uploading now. So don't be worried about that. But if you are here live with us and you would like to continue this conversation after 11 o'clock, because there are a lot of other things that we want to talk about that we can't necessarily talk about on stream. So if you're ready for the grown folks conversation that happens after the chat, in the after chat, $5 gets you in, and there's a link at the bottom of the screen. It is just patreon.com/written in melanin. Sign up and you get the other conversation, as well as hanging out with us throughout the rest of the weeks, months when we're not live. So feel free to, if you go ahead and sign up now, you'll have enough time to get set up before we start the after chat. So wanted to remind you of that very gently. And also, I feel like Luthaza also hit the nail on the head that I think we could have honestly a whole conversation about, because y'all know how I run my YouTube channel, and it is very much is black. It's blackly black. I talk about everything black and bookish. I'm a black author. I talk about black books. I interview other black authors. We do the Melanin Chat. We do the Melanin Library, where I only recommend black books. You are not going to find books by white authors on my channel. And I think that Luthaza said, I know that they don't want their channels to feel like they are black channels, but whether we like it or not, there is an expected duty from one to another as black people. And I feel like that right there, that first part of it hits the nail on the head. Like a lot of people, not a lot of people, I'm not going to generalize it like that. I think there are some content creators who are black who do not want to be perceived as the black channel, where it's just like they want to promote books by black authors, but they feel like if they don't promote other things, they're not going to get that traffic, they're not going to get that click, they're not going to get that audience, they're not going to be able to quote unquote reach their goals. And so they end up talking about stuff that where it's just like everybody else is already talking about it. And I saw a woman on TikTok. I want to say it's like Keisha's Bookish Labyrinth. I want to say, and I feel like it might have been her. It might have been someone else. I follow a lot of bookish creators on TikTok, so forgive me if that's not the correct person. But she was basically like, she's seen a lot of people within the book community, even within Black Book Talk, talking about white authors because they're trying to get that traffic. And she's like, she doesn't do that. And she's noticed that the people who come to her channel are looking for content that's not like everybody else's. And I feel like there are a lot of channels that are afraid of being the black channel. Because, like, what does that even mean? Because, like, homie, you black. That's how they perceive you anyway.
And that's,
that's
white supremacy. That's white supremacy showing its ugly head in your mind. Your mind has been trained by white supremacist thought, and you think that if you don't want to be perceived as the black channel because you won't get the clicks, like, why do you think that black people can't come through for you? Why do you think that you can't get the traffic from just black people? That's white supremacist thinking right there.
But it's not
but it is.
And the thing is, it's not even about just black people coming through, because here's the thing. A lot of white people and Asian people and Hispanic people want to also do the work. But the thing is, it goes back to the conversation that even as a black person and a black content creator and a black author, the way I have to put time into finding books by black authors, it is not something for a lot of people that is just going to pop up. So when people have these conversations about, doing the work and doing the research and reading diversely, there are a fair amount of people who want to read diversely, but they just do not have access to the books that they can and should be reading that other people also think are good. And that is why you need content creators who are talking about them, because there is a market for this. There are people who are looking for it. And I feel like there's so much of this conversation where people are like, oh, well, traditional publishing doesn't push these books. But it's like, if you're not talking about it, so the people who are looking for it can't find it, so that book is not being sold, it's like you were just helping to perpetuate the problem, and it has to start somewhere. So it's like in the conversation of, I think of when people are like, oh, I'm not Google, I'm not don't ask me for recommendations. Like, here's the thing though. Here's the thing. If you are a content creator and you are talking about books, And you are telling people to read diversely when you yourself on your page are not reading diversely as you should. Then you become the pot and or the kettle, whichever one you want to be, because you are perpetuating the problem because you're not reading diversely and because it's hard. But then you're telling people to go do the research because you feel like you're above them, or you feel like, oh, I don't have to do this. Like, there's nothing wrong with helping people. And if you don't have a recommendation, just tell people, oh, I don't have a recommendation for you. Because some people will come on your page and they'll ask for something super specific. Like, I'm looking for a monster mermaid fantasy set in the high seas, specifically the 1800s, but I want it to be black. Like, homie, what? I ain't got no research. I don't have like a running knowledge of every book written by a black author. So yeah, you might have to do some research for that. But if someone's just like, hey, I'm new to reading diversely, I just found this page, I just ended up in this conversation, because despite what some people think, some people have not been in this community since the beginning of time. Some people are new. Some people are just now realizing that they should be doing this. And when you come at them with like anger, like, do your own research. It's not that hard. Like, some people legit don't know where to start. But that is a soapbox, and that's probably me being too nice. But I'm just like, I feel like there should be more open conversation about a lot of things. And I was not expecting this topic to take the entire Melanin Chat discussion.
But it needed to be said, so it's a great topic. So
it is. So if you guys want to come to the after
think
chat,
of it as all the other stuff you want to talk about. Those are other Melanin Chats. That's the way we're gonna look at it.
Yeah. Because there's some crazy stuff happening in the world, you guys, in the way that I need to talk to somebody about this, and y'all need to hear this. Yeah, for sure. But we have about 3 minutes before we are going to call it a day. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I highly recommend that you go ahead and do that. And I'm not just saying that because I want you to subscribe to the channel. I'm saying that because if you are watching the chat now or in the future, then you can't actually participate in the chat unless you subscribe to the channel, because the way we're not trying to have trolls up and through here, just throwing that out there.
Right.
But also, I haven't decided on when the next Melanin Chat is going to be, the exact date of it yet. So make sure you don't miss it. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, you're not going to get the notification. So subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, hit the like button, all that good stuff. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to Audra, because every month I'm over on her channel where we do rants and rambles. We have a really good time. And it's a lot, it's not as PG-13 as the Written Melanin channel is. So go.
I don't be giving no damns on my show.
So for sure, check that out, and be sure to join us in the after chat. Like I said, $5 gets you in, and if you sign up for the Patreon, you are supporting the Melanin Library to make sure that it keeps running, because it is a free resource, but it is not free to run. So that's where the money goes, in case you were curious. So let's see here. Last couple of comments. Resetting my default rating was simple for me because of the boon of amazing indie books by Black authors. But yes, we need that unlearning. Absolutely. Reading indie will have you unlearning a lot of things real quick. Just throwing that out there.
Sure will. Sure will.
Ash said, I will have to research that one, see if it's spicy, for research. I'm dead. Let's see here. Thank you for the stream. I'm glad you guys could make it. Thank you for hanging out. Like I said, we are going to keep doing this in the early mornings, just because that's how life is set up for us. So just grab your coffee and come hang out. Let's see here. Jay Louisa popped in. Bookish Realm just posted a video of Black books that need more hype. For sure, check it out. I love Bookish Realm. She's great. She always has a wide variety of books, from children's books to...
Is that her name on Instagram or Twitter or what?
No, that's YouTube.
YouTube. Oh, okay. Cool.
Bookish Realm on YouTube. Ashley, she always has great recommendations. Children's books, adult books, young adult books. She doesn't do a whole lot of fantasy. That's not her bag, but she does have it occasionally. So, for sure. But yeah, that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. If you are hanging around the channel, I will be doing writing sprints, productivity sprints on Thursday at 11 o'clock. So be sure to check it out. Subscribe to Audra, subscribe to the channel. Check out the books that we mentioned, Conquest by Celeste Hart and Everyone's Think It by Alimi Otomi and Alima Otomi. I think I said that right.
And don't forget to check out today's episode of Between the Reads, because you can learn more about Conquest and see me and Celeste have a good time talking.
Yes. So listen to the podcast or watch it on YouTube. Both are valuable options. And that's it, you guys. We are in the after chat. You got about 5 minutes ish to hop in, and then we're going to keep it moving. But thank you guys for being here. And until next time, you guys, I hope your days are lovely and your books are interesting.